Hello everyone, I'm Ojasvi Kapoor from Loudest.in and I'm delighted to welcome you all on this exclusive webinar on the power of music in brand marketing, and I will be moderating this session for the day. It is my honor to introduce our inaugural keynote speaker, Dr. Anurag Batra, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief of Exchange for Media and Business World. We welcome you here today, sir.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Welcome to the World Music Day. Loudest.in is part of exchangeformedia.com, and it's about the business of music. We cannot talk about business of music without music and musicians in it. We do a Music Inc., which is around the business of music. I can only say that music as a business is growing. The movement of independent artists and the significant traction the independent artists are getting is growing. Live events are growing, and hence the music that is being played there is growing. So the royalty is going back to the musicians. Very importantly, today musicians are doing live events, which have become a very important part of their life and of their connection with the fans. I personally, in the last 13 months, have attended two concerts, Sonu Nigam's concert and Sunadhi Chauhan's concert. And I can tell you that both were ticketed events and both had between 3,000 to 10,000 people engaged for 3 hours. They paid top tier money to attend. There are other music formats in terms of events. Ola Puzza happened in Bombay. So the business of music is growing. Music in cinema is growing. Very importantly, we have Mr. Rajiv Raja here, who quit a very successful career in advertising and to start an audio company or how to get brands to use audio to grow the brands and businesses. And music is a large part of that audio. Melody is a large part of that audio. So brands and music are collaborating in a bigger way. The Indian music business is growing. We at Loudest.in and at Exchange for Media, hopefully in the next 12 months, will do justice by doing more meaningful, deep, and larger initiatives. Today is the World Music Day, so celebrate it, listen to music, call your musician friends, and may music be part of your life. With this, I want to get back to experts like Mr. Madan, Mr. Rabindra Narayan, Mr. Rajiv Raja, to be able to take it forward. They are really experts on music. And Ojasvi, you've done a fantastic job over the last 2-3 years to be able to build continuity at Loudest. And with you there and Rohel guiding you, I'm sure we'll be able to build Music Inc. this year into the biggest IP on the business of music. So this is what I wanted to say. Back to you, Ojasvi.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your precious time, and a very happy World Music Day to everybody. So for our next keynote session, I welcome Mr. Rabindra Narayan, MD, President of PDC Network. Over to you, sir.
Hi, good morning, and a very happy World Music Day to all of you. See, I want to begin by telling you that we are very fortunate to be able to witness the golden era for artists in music. They've never had it so good. Let me take you through a snapshot of journey where music started and where it has reached. Now, as we all know that we say that all creation was born out of music, the sound of Om, and all our scriptures, our Rigved, and all those are actually written music, which you can sing. There was an oral tradition. And music also has emanated from various elements of nature. And music has existed since the time we've existed. But I would say the music till the 20th century was broadly in two categories. One was classical music, which was limited to courts and big rich people who would patronize it, or temples. Both the North Indian Hindustani music as well as the Carnatic South Indian music. The other form of music was folk music. And as the name says, it was originating and centering around folks, people, common people. That music originated from situations, from happenings all around us. And it was more of a social come religious gathering sort of music, as a public thing. And the entire music was performance oriented. Some people gathered and sang or performed, and mostly everybody could sing. I still remember uh, all traditional North Indian families will have this tradition of a young bride walking into the home for the first time and everybody asking her to sing something, perform music. And the music was an integral part of everything that happened in our everyday life. And when it came to celebrations, music was an integral part. And since I look after the world's biggest Punjabi television and digital and movie audio network, PTC, Punjab, I think, has been a very, very special place. Everything in Punjab is passionate, and so is it music. So it's music. Be it Gurbani, which is purely music, 24 hours it continues to be played in Golden Temple and originates from there. When the Guru wrote the Guru Granth Sahib, he composed it in particular ragas for a particular time of the day, and everything is scripted as such. You have the Sufi movement there. The Rig Veda actually is the most ancient piece of literature written in Punjab. Your Ramayana, Mahabharata, all are composed poems, all written in Punjab. And the most famous Bhangra music, or whatever we call in the global thing, is Punjab. So that apart, the music was, as I said, was broadly classical and folk. Till I would say 1936, when the All India Radio started and radio came in and gramophone records came in. And that was the era when people like K.L. Sehgal, M.S. Subbalakshmi, Lata Mangeshkar, and all those became household names. Till then, they would be performing only in select gatherings, select places, and there was no public exposure. These would, I would say, were the first big music heroes en masse. And this was also the time when Hindi movies and regional movies were coming into their own. The music till now was limited to regions. Each region, each place had its own kind of music. And there was no world exposure to dur ki baat. It wasn't even a India-wide exposure to all sorts of music. It wasn't so. Music changed every 50 kilometers, like the language and dialects. And it continued in that manner till gramophone came in, when you could buy music and listen to it. Or the radio came in, Vivid Bharati and All India Radio did a great service to music. Music became a household thing. Everybody could now enjoy music. And especially when the transistors and all came, you could carry the music on the go. And then came the era of, I would say, cassettes, audio cassettes, and CDs. This was the era when people like Gurdas Mann, Malkeet Singh, and all those came into being, courtesy Doordarshan. The annual New Year's Eve used to have a cultural program where these sort of artists got national break, and suddenly the Punjabi music was the in thing. And since that time, Punjabi music has continued to dominate not only the regional, but national music scene, film music slowly, and then now global music. Now, I would say Diljit Dosanjh remains the highest paid music star from India right now, currently. People like Mikka and Daler and all these people, they now charge upwards of 40, 50 lakhs per show. Musicians never had it so good. They were literally always begging to survive. They would be doing, or most of the musicians would be doing something else besides music to survive. It was only the top-notch people who would get concerts, who would be able to perform, would be able to gather audience, and who would have a fan base, who would get music to pay for their livelihood. But then came the internet. Then came the social media platforms, your Facebooks, your YouTubes, your and all these things. Before the MTV revolution, where the music became a TV thing, a visual medium, music videos started coming into their own. And then music videos expanded into international locations and big budget music videos. And Honey Singh and all those guys became the kings of music. And slowly, the scene shifted from TV, music channels, to streaming channels. The Ghana.com, the Yahoo Music, the Apple Music, the YouTube Music, and all these n number of platforms across the world. And suddenly, an artist sitting in Bilaspur could access audience in Birmingham, could address audience in Barcelona. And suddenly you saw this emergence of these global stars. People who had talent earlier had to find a promoter, had to find a producer, had to find an audio label to give them a break. They had to have budgets to make music videos, to pay TV channels, to play the songs, pay radio stations and all those people to get their songs aired. And at the end of the day, the issue was they ended up again not earning by recording a song or releasing an album or doing a TV or a radio performance. Main money came from shows. If you're an artist who can get shows, who can perform, you could make money. The currency then shifted from TV and all these platforms to YouTube and streaming platforms. Today, you count how many views you got, how many views on YouTube, how many streams, and that's the judgment on the popularity of the singer. Now, the flip side is those who are not talented really also are stars, and those who are talented are feeling a bit frustrated. What happened? What used to happen was there would be music premiere, song launches. This song is dropping on this date. Watch the premiere at 9 p.m. tonight. Honey Singh's new song, Daler Mehendi's new song, Gurdas Man's new song coming in, and people would wait. Now the same platform have access to Tony Singh, Bobby Singh, Escor, Simran. Everybody has got the same platform. So what you realize is that the platforms have empowered the singers, musicians, music makers to get the same audience as their peers or the best of the best had. So it works both ways. It cuts both ways. Those who don't have the real live singing talent or the real right chord now can release music and earn millions. And now the era is of AI. You don't have to be a singer. You don't have to be a lyricist. You don't have to have musicians. No bands needed. Yesterday, I was watching on the suno.ai or .com. Tremendous thing. You just tell, I need this sort of a song. In 30 seconds, it writes lyrics, records audio, music, and gives you a song ready-made. And it sounds as good as any. So this is an era where we don't know whether the AI will take to enhance their output. Now I don't need to go to a guitar player or a sarangi player or a tabla player. I can all do it digitally. I can recreate the music, dub my voice, improve my voice, make it in perfect sync, and release it at 140 platforms across the world. And if I'm intelligent enough to create good music, I'll get money, I'll get fame, and I'll get fan following. I will be a star. So the possibilities are limitless. As I said, for music makers, creators, singers, musicians, this is the golden period. Your dependency has ended. Your dependency on kings and courtiers to patronize you, give you money to perform in courts and hone your talent is gone. Your dependence on producers to do G Azuri, sir, ये करा दीजिए ना recording, sir, 80% फीस आप ले लीजिए, करा दीजिए ना, is gone. Your dependency on audio label, sir, please YouTube पे आप release कर दीजिए ना, उम्मीद channel पर आप चलवा दीजिए ना, please get me airplay, please launch me, sir, please do some advertising, make me a star. All is gone. You control your destiny yourself now. And if you're talented, sky is the limit. So on this World Music Day, I wish to say, if you think you can create music, if you think you can make music, go ahead and make music. Good, bad, ugly, make it. Ultimately, you'll make good music. If you have talent, you'll get appreciated. If you have talent, you're not dependent. If you have talent, the world is the stage for you. I would say happy World Music Day.
Thank you so much, Rabindra sir, for your amazing thoughts on this World Music Day. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. So, music has been an integral part of human culture for millennia, shaping emotions, memories, and identities. In today's fast paced, media saturated world, brands are constantly seeking innovative ways to connect with their audience on a deeper level. Music, with its unique ability to evoke powerful emotional responses, offers a dynamic and impactful tool for marketers. As we celebrate World Music Day, it's important to recognize how music transcends cultural and linguistic barriers, making it a universal language that speaks directly to the heart. Brands that harness this power can create memorable experiences, forge emotional connections, and enhance brand loyalty. From iconic jingles to carefully curated playlists, music can shape brand narratives influences consumer behavior and distinguish a brand in a crowded marketplace. Today, we'll explore the multifaceted role of music in brand marketing. Our distinguished panel of thought leaders from the music industry will share insights, strategies, and real world examples of how music can elevate brand campaigns. We'll delve into how to choose the right music, the impact of emerging technologies, and the future trends in the ever evolving landscape. So let's dive into the power of music in brand marketing and discover how brands can resonate more deeply with their audiences through the art of sound. And today, I welcome Rajita Himwani, Chief Operating Officer, Let's Get Louder in Media 10, and Ashish Rajiv Raja, founder and soundsmith Brand Music, and Sukesh Madan, CEO, Blankput Audio India, Hamza Kazi, Head of Music at Dharma Cornerstone Agency, and Rohit Sokti, co-founder of Artistry First. We welcome our panelists and a very happy World Music Day to everybody.
Happy World Music Day to all.
Yeah. So, we will be talking today the power of music in brand marketing and how. So, in your views, how has music evolved as a tool in brand marketing over the last decades? Over to you, Rajiv, sir.
Okay, so I actually straddled a few worlds. So I started off as a musician in my college days, and then I think the pressures of having to earn a living uh, came upon me. So I sort of wandered into advertising, and I keep saying that that's probably the only industry that would have given me a job. So I've always been a creative person, and I spent 25 years in advertising, working on both Indian and global brands. My last paid position was National Creative Director at DDB Mudra. But I kept my music going right through my career. I played with many, many bands. I have my own band called Rajiv Raja Combine, which is a Indo jazz fusion band. And so I guess at some point I brought these two worlds together to start brand music, actually around 13 years ago. And we explored the whole space of creating sonic identities for brands. And uh, as a specific reply to your question, Ojasvi, uh, when we started off 13 years ago, the jingle really was what was prominent, right? So it took us quite a while to educate brands of the power of music as an identity that they could own as a sonic asset. So earlier, we've come from a musical culture, as I was saying earlier. It's right across India. There's so much of music, but how do brands harness the power of this beyond the jingle, right? So in those days when television was sort of ruling the roost, actually 10 years before that, the jingle was also ruling the roost. But the minute all the digital media started appearing, it became important for brands to use sound in a more 360-degree, surround kind of way. And that's exactly like you create a visual identity for a brand, we said, let's create a sonic identity also for brands. And that's really where the journey, and the evolution has been fantastic. So when we started off, the first few years, we were educating brands. We created a term we call MOGO, or short form for musical logo. And that's part of a larger sonic ecosystem that we build for brands. And today, most marketers and brand owners understand at least the need for a sonic identity. So the one layer of education, I think, has sort of moved and evolved. So now it's really how do we create a sonic identity that is, matches my brand values, that resonates and expresses my brand essence. These are the questions, rather than ये sonic identity क्या है? Like, what do I do with the sonic? So that's really been the evolution, and yeah, it's been a fantastic journey so far. I think you're on mute, Ojasvi.
That's great. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, Rajita ma'am. What's your views on that?
Hi, everybody, and a happy World Music Day to all of you. So there is so much happening in the music business per se, whether it's label point of view, whether it's artist point of view, whether it's business point of view, and it's such a dynamically changing industry, more so in the last 10, 15 years, or ever since YouTube came into the picture. So in the keynote, what they did mention is, I started off, I think, with about more than 25 years back in the music industry, starting off with companies like Tips Music, then moving on to Mr. Bachchan's company, ABCL, and then starting Times Music for the Times of India Group, having moved on to starting the music label for Reliance Entertainment. From there, recharging the Indian arm of Universal Music, post which there was Eros and there was 9XM, and right now I've just started a label called Let's Get Louder, which is for the Intent Media Group, which is co-owned by Mr. Anand Mahindra and the Pitti Group, Mr. Aditya Pitti. So yes, I have seen that bit when the artist kept sitting outside the big daddy's office that I need to launch this song. Can you do this for me? Can you please launch it for me? And the persons who had deep pockets were probably doing it themselves, investing in their music videos, investing in their recordings. And it's all dynamically changed over the years. More so it should be also, because now the world is consuming your music at the click of a button. I can be sitting at home recording my song in my recording room, getting on Spotify for artists, and having my own YouTube channel, and bingo, I put myself out there, so that is there. I do have the means to do that. But I can also tell you, leading the music label business and more so content, honestly, it's not that easy. So we do say that it's just go there, you're on a reality show, come there, win there, go to shows. So of course, there's a 5%, 2% chance of somebody becoming the next big guy, or the Sonu Nigam and Arijit Singhs or Shekhar Afghani's of the world right out of the reality show. But life per se is not so easy, even for the artist, because suppose if today I want to launch my music, and just you're well aware of all this, is I have to, I'm launching myself on YouTube. I think I'm an amazing singer. And maybe I am. Maybe I'm really very talented. How do I get discovered on YouTube? Today, the hit songs are 400 million, 500 million, 30 million, 20 million, 800 million. I don't know. Like any other business. So, whether it's films or whether it's OTT or whether it's music, we do not know where the numbers are coming from. There are some numbers which are genuine. There are some numbers which are coming from an agency. So it does put pressure on an artist who does not have the means of promotions, or does not have a big label supporting him. How do I get discovered? Fine. So I will go on Spotify for artists, but there are hundreds of songs getting launched every day, right? Maybe thousands. So while we do have the means as an artist or as a label to go out there, make a good song, put it out there for the world to consume, the world consuming it is a different story altogether. So you could be that lucky one who becomes a king, and that song which King did, which suddenly um, went viral all over, or something which was not even really musical, but just because of the novelty value, something else, some other song I don't remember went viral all over. So these things happen. So while we say it's a great market to launch, if you're talent, please go out there, put your music out. But yes, reaching out to everybody is a challenge. And I wouldn't want to say people who don't have talent are here or things like that. I would not say that to anybody, because I think anybody who thinks he's a good singer and can sing has the right to present himself. But the people who still have the lead here are people who are signed with big labels, or people who have the means to promote themselves. Because if I have 1,000 products in the market every day, maybe the three who can really promote themselves are going to make it, right? Because I am going to be able to discover those three. Maybe among those 100, there are 5 really talented ones who never got discovered, right? So yeah, so it is a brilliant industry. I do agree, live music is doing very well. We are going international, which is a great story. Artists are charging a lot of money, but we are giving examples of artists who have been there 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, 30 years. So these are guys who are making a lot of money. Or otherwise, you are then the Arijit Singh, who is the god of music. I consider him one of the most brilliant singers of our times. And yes, you have to be then that talented. And he's also had his journey of struggles. I'm sure he didn't just come out there and became Arijit Singh one day. He went on to a reality show. He worked with music composers. He did a lot of recordings of songs which eventually were not sung by him, but sung by bigger names of those times. So he's had his journey, successful one at though. And yeah, so it is like, if you have the talent, keep at it. You have to be really good today to make it to the long run. You could be that 15-minute of fame today thanks to Insta Reels and thanks to the shorts and thanks to this and that. Come there, do some stupid song, if I may say so, and get the eyeballs, and people are watching you, maybe not because of your music talent, but maybe because of the novelty value you're giving to his drawing room, and have a good laugh at it. So we do have those kind of musicians also. But yeah, for the real singer who is out there with just his music and his talent, it is a challenge. It is still a challenge, because how do I match that 400 million views on YouTube? Because the moment I come to you as a music label, that will you sign me on? If I'm just going by data analytics, okay, so that's where A&R comes in. That's where A&R people have to see the talent. So if I'm just going by data analytics, the first thing the person will see, oh, he's got so many Insta followers. Oh, he's got his last 3 releases have had so many views. And that's where we judge a talent. That's where we are judging a musician. How many of us in music companies are actually taking a talent who has no Insta followers or is not wanting to be on social media because he is a pure musician? He has not had many releases on YouTube. So how many music labels or how many music label A&R people are going out there telling him, listen, you come to the studio, I'm going to get the musician sorted. Let's listen to your music. I want to sit and listen to you. So that maybe used to happen at the times of R.D. Burman, Lakshmikant Pyarelal, or maybe even much later than that. I doubt that's happening too much now, because life has become at a click of a button, and so is music. So having said that, if you have the talent, if you have unique music, you have to give people not necessarily a lot of razzmatazz, but you have to give them good music. I believe melody stays. A good singer can't be put down for long, but yes, it is a challenging journey, and you have to have a lot of perseverance to make it for the long run. what really concerns me now in today's times is like one of our esteemed guests spoke about the AI. So I really don't know how this animal is going to play very soon. Because if I am sitting here and I'm going to push in some buttons, and I want to hear a new song in the voice of a Kishore Kumar, I can. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. So I think this is absolutely the right time, if not too late, for the laws to come in place to protect the integrity of this business, to protect the copyright of the singers, to protect the copyright of the singers who have been there in the past, and ensure that AI is being used to kind of help the music grow further in a far more ethical way, rather than just becoming a mad battlefield and somebody's running to court to protect himself, so yeah, I think the government really, and the music industry per se, the music bodies that we have, the IMIs and everybody else, have to really get together at this time, if we are not too late, to put together a system and process of how to maintain everybody's copyright and the integrity of the business. So that's it from my end.
Thank you so much for your insights, Rajita. It was amazing. So I welcome Mr. Rohit Sokti, co-founder Artisty First, and Hamza Kazi, the head of music at Dharma Cornerstone Agency. We welcome you here today, sir, on our webinar.
Thank you for having us. Happy World
Happy
Music
World
Day
Music Day to you
to
guys.
everyone. Yeah,
Happy World Music Day.
So my question was, how has music evolved as a tool in brand marketing over the last decade? Rohit, sir, what's your view on that?
yeah. I think first of all, thanks music for choosing all of us, and special thanks to Rajiv Raja sir. Learned a lot from you, sir. I think you have been the flag bearer for creating that bridge between brands and music. I think phenomenal job, and I went through your website couple of months back. So phenomenal. So I'm in the industry from last about 27 years. Way back from RTs, BMG, Sony Music, Universal Music Today, and then built YRF Music way back in 2008 and worked there for many moons. And then worked on the film, brands and celebrity, and then I think music called me back here. My objective is to look at artists, look at the fire in them, and take them to the world. So I myself think as a curator, we curated music for the artist, for our brand, and now we want to create music for the brands now. I feel there is a huge underline huge opportunity considering where the audience is. Like the 95% of the audience today, digital audience, the biggest impact music makes that. The second is cooking videos, which is about 70%, and then sports, which is about 60, 65, 66%. So, Mr. Rajiv Raja, we have a huge market to play. I think we have not even scratched the surface even till now. And I think what we have to do, probably work together. Probably I have something, you have something. We together can go and make an offering to the brand. Music is all about collaboration. I think when we go to the West and speak to the folks there, they all co-create music. Ed Sheeran was in a 2-week camp where he called 30 people and was working on his album. And I think when we work today with music, with the artists, and when we do something like this, so I'll invite Mr. Raja. I'll come over to your office.
Please, anytime.
I'll take your number from Loudest. Thank you, Loudest, for Ojasvi for this initiative, and have a cup of coffee. Probably we can build something out for there.
Boss.
Put a collective and a curation. I feel what Coke Studio Pakistan is doing, what Zulfi is doing, it's hats off. He is the world's best curator for me right now. Right? What he is curating, Coke tagline is creating magic. He is creating magic, I think, right now. And he is, putting the brand out there. Every bug that the brand spent, he is giving them so much ROI because of the magic that he is creating. And that will only happen if you create the right ambience, right environment, right energy with right artists, not looking at anything else. Everything else is 2 plus 2 maths. Music doesn't happen like that. And I think a lot of cheer to Coke as well, to believing in that as well. giving them that freedom also and build that environment to create that. I feel we have not even like 0.01% of what music as of whole we can offer to the brands. What they have realized, like I heard Coke Studio brand manager, she said what they offer is a conversation. Otherwise, there is a campaign. They just it's a linear campaign. When the brand comes in, or a branded content comes in, or the music comes in, is that's where the conversation lies in. So I think with data supporting us, because the impact of music, unfortunately, fortunately, a lot of young music, especially in the metros, which is also an opportunity. We will see a lot of now, English talent, English language talent, along with our regional language talent. So these are some of the points that I wanted to make. Thank you, Ojasvi, for having us, and Mr. Raja, I'm coming to your office soon to
Done,
collaborate.
done.
I think that's one thing is that we should do is to collaborate more together, share our point of view, share. We all are in a journey, right? Like how
Yes.
artist is in a journey, we as a curator, as on the other side, we are their partners. We are also on a journey. Probably I might share where I am in the journey. You can share where you are in the journey, and we
Yeah,
can say
sure.
if we can that journey together to that. Music is all about collaboration, and I think with the right intent, right energy, India can go fivefold in next 10 years. Where we are, we can go fivefold from here. Uh, Sorry, Yashasvi, did I answer your question?
Thank you,
Or
thank you,
anything?
thank you, sir, for your insights. So, Hamza, sir, what's your view on that?
Hi. First of all, thanks so much for having me. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I just had to do a
Yes,
quick
yes.
So
sound
how
check.
has music evolved as a tool in brand marketing over the last decades? What are your views on that?
Yeah. So I think it's a very interesting time to be in the music business, because brands are noticing the power of music. This is something that has always subconsciously always been there. You think about all the jingles that were made in the 80s, like Asian Paints, Bajaj, all those iconic jingles. They're still being used in some way or form today, even though the products have actually changed. You still remember the close up Karte Aaye ad, and them there are now what, like maybe 10 upgrades of that of the product, but everyone who grew up in that day and age still remembers the campaign. So I feel that brands have always known the power of music, but it was limited to the jingle space. But now I think brands are looking at music in terms of various other touch points. For example, the Bacardi NH7 Weekender, or the Coke Studio, or the Nescafe Basement, or the Heineken Rooms. So they're trying to curate newer ways in which they can sort of interact with the audience. Live music obviously is huge. So there are a lot of brands that are tapping into that. Then you also have branded content. Now, in fact, last year we did the MTV McDonald's I'm Loving It, where we had Lisa Mishra, Jasleen, and I remember one other artist. So that was a property that we put together. In fact, I played drums for
Yeah.
Arman on one of the songs. But the whole idea of that was to get two different artists and put them in a room to let them make music that would be used by McDonald's, and as a marketing tool. The whole idea was that they would have about 7 or 8 songs that they would play across all their QSRs pan India. Then they also had a slot on MTV, obviously, and then there was a whole interview section. So that was like a brand looking at music uh, in the form of curating a song and a chat show. Then we did something with Royal Stag, which was a very cool property that's on its second season right now. we did the Royal Stag Boombox. So the idea was for Royal Stag to get a mainstream Bollywood artist and pair them up with a rap artist. So last year we had booked Nikita, Nikita Gandhi, Neeti Mohan, and Jasleen. They were paired up with Dino James, Dino James, EPR, and one more artist I forget. So that was quite a cool concept, although it had a few sort of issues because the creators of the project thought that you can leave two musicians or artists in a room and magic happens. But that's not usually the case. Being a musician, Mr. Rajiv will know that if you have four musicians in a room, they're ready to tear each other's heads off, because there at every point there are multiple uh, options that you can have for where the song can go. So it was a great property. All it needed is like a music supervisor or a curator, as Mr. Rohit also said. In Coke Studio, you have like one curator who's overseeing the entire project, who will put perspective to the actual project, so that both the collaborating artists can actually work together for the bigger aim of the brand. That is something that is very important. That something that artists also need to realize is, when you're making content for a brand, it's always obviously music first. Whatever you do, it has to be epic. But you also need to have a certain view of what the brand is looking for from that property. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, a brand is coming to you to make branded content for a certain objective. That I think is very important, and a lot of artists are seeing that now, which is why there's like seamless collaborations happening between brands and artists. But yeah, to sum it up, I think now is a great time to be in the music space. Brands are looking for innovative solutions, and artists now have like various platforms in which they can present their art. So yeah, that's
Thank
what
you
I'd like to conclude with.
so much, sir, for your insight. Over to you, Sukesh, sir.
Yeah,
So, what's your take on audio business in brand marketing? I would say.
right. Happy Music Day to all of you first. And being the last one to comment on, I think there's nothing much left for me to say. But any which way, I'll try to be, add on to my things. Well, let me first introduce myself. I'm Sukesh. I'm the CEO for Blaupunkt India. Blaupunkt is a German consumer electronics brand, but we're majorly known as an audio brand. And we started this journey around 100 years back in Germany, and now we are selling across 100 countries. In India, we generally categorize our business into two parts. We call it personal audio and home audio, depending whether it's for your personal listening of music, or you're enjoying the music with your entire family or friends. So this is how we divide. You raise a word, audio business. So let me quickly, give my pedigree, so then that will help little, easier for people to understand this. I come basically from a technology background. Before joining Blaupunkt as an CEO, I worked for Intel, Microsoft. In fact, last job was with Sony. So I have seen the technology, how hardware side, software side are impacting overall business, and then of course the audio business as a specific case. Well, I think another important point here is brand marketing and music. Well, in fact, Hamza has added that point already. I will kind of, cost of repeating myself. Music has always been an extremely powerful tool. It just cut through all the clutter, and it just increased the memorability. For simple jingles to brand sign-offs, everything has been there. I remember Intel used to have one small jingle, even Delhi Doordarshan. Even now people who have lived in that era, that moving of that, whatever you call that, and then the music, all of us still remember that. And especially now, today's world, when everyone has such a short span of attention, the music really adds stickiness and keeps a viewer attention for extremely longer period. A lot of brands are doing it. They are doing it since 80s. we all remember the Nirma jingle. Even you hear it now and you say, oh, you don't need to say anything, just the jingle, and you will, go into that world. And that's what these brands are. This audio, this music has done. I think currently one specific case which comes to my mind is IPL. The sound mnemonics they have with the trumpet call they have created, it's amazing. The strength it has, and it is now a global strength courtesy, people playing all over. It comes and it's cricket is somewhere happening. But like in all elements in advertising, music has to be, these are the success stories which we all know, but it is very tough. It's easier to say than done doing this thing. Music, like anything else, has to be extremely, stand out. It has to be unique. A few example again I'll take from the industry coming from that side. A Fevicol, who has went back to create in time to create soundtracks that were very Indian and old in feel. Jockey has that for old jazz and blues songs. So every time those particular track comes, they really hit the nerve, really goes extremely popular. So uniqueness is extremely important for any music to stand out. And as we, in marketing, we says that only 50% of the marketing thing works. Growing up as a kid, I was told by my marketing guru, he said, buddy, only 50% of marketing thing works, 15% fails. The problem here is which 50% works, no one knows. So whether it's jingle, uniqueness, something which I am calling it unique, you may not be even liking it. So it's very, it's an evolving process. So for a music to succeed in brand marketing, I think one thing which is very critical to know is your core target audience. You need to know whom are you targeting, because the audience are very different geographically, demographically. What age are you targeting? Every product has its own target audience. Nirma is a completely different, and Surf could be very different, and Fevicol is even different. So you need to be really targeting those people and then creating content accordingly. Right. So even the state wise, like we are also now selling offline. We used to generally sell online majorly, but when I go to Punjab, the music taste, the ask for higher bass is very different from when you go to say down south, and the kind of music they want to hear. They don't want high bass. They want clarity. They want the treble is very different. And globally, though, because we sell globally, practically hardly a product which we can bring from outside, say from any other country and then say, oh, this will be great success there, it will be successful in India too. Doesn't happen anymore. Absolutely doesn't happen. So, also as a businessman and as well selling someone who's selling music, there are a lot of challenges we face in terms of making music as a marketing tool. First of them is, of course, as I mentioned before, uniqueness and memorability has to be there. The second one, which is again very important, is protecting your sound, whatever you have created. And there I have seen a lot of people, Dignity is practically sitting in this, protecting your music, copywriting those music, so not everyone can do that is extremely important. And in this domain where the attention span is so less, there is a extremely high need of investment for a brand to take this to the public. So you would have created a great content, but then you have to push it to all these digital content channels, whether it's YouTube or a lot of other things are available, to take it out to the customer, to reach out. So that's and the most important, which is like is a bad saying, but then if it doesn't work, have the guts, have the money to even dump it, which is very, very, very tough, because once you have created something, you get really emotionally involved with that. So this is what it is. Of course, coming to my side of business, technology has, of course, made it so cheaper and affordable. I remember growing up, and I was coming from a typical middle class background. Having a gramophone was that you have arrived in your life. And I remember I never had it, to be honest, when I was doing my schooling and everything. And I used to have some rich friends, unke ghar pe hai, and we used to go, man, mesmerize, big thing, they have their big shit. But now, look at the affordability. One USB drive can afford thousands of songs. You can play it on a Bluetooth speaker, which may be not even $10 product, and can very well be satisfied with all your music needs. Technology, again, those wired, big, bulky headphones which you used to see in all those ads. And now look at truly wireless AirPods. We all are using at what fraction of the cost? Less than $10. I know brands were selling it at $7, $8 also. And awesome product, reasonably good product. You can listen to the music and everything. And all courtesy technology, which is actually taking. And when we all are talking about this is the golden era, I think a lot of credit goes to technology because it has made music reach out to the public, to the masses. Those were the days when Lata Mangeshkar, used to have specific concerts, specific thing, only target audience. Now look at that. A music releases, next day it will be on Spotify. Next day you will be finding someone, traveling in Uber, traveling in a metro, listening to it on our AirPods at a $10 product and enjoying the music. And that's why this, as everyone is saying, this is the golden era, because I think a lot of credit goes to technology, which has made it so affordable for everyone and anyone to enjoy it. In fact, just adding, when COVID happened, we were like everyone, we all were so scared for our businesses, what will happen, how will we pay our employees and everything. We grew 100% year on year in those days, where people were confined to their home. The only entertainment they had was OTT channels, music coming there, music, movies, everything. And we were shocked. We were practically out of stocks in those months because China was closed, factories were closed. We are not really producing anything. Anything which we were holding from last 3-4 years, we all sold everything. So that's what music is doing: healing people, consoling people, everything.
Thank you so much, Sukesh, for your insights. So you all, everybody is a part of a certain brand. Take it Rajiv sir, Hamza sir, Rajita, Rohit sir, Sukesh sir. So what all marketing strategies you have used, to stay relevant in the market in today's time? Rajiv sir, let's start with you.
Yeah, so, we started off, we call ourselves BC in that sense, before content, right? So, it's really at the very stage going into the essence of a brand, trying to understand a brand as if it were a human being. What emotions does the brand wish to evoke? And then, designing a field of sound that would evoke the feeling of the brand, right? So what we have found is that once a brand has something that it can own, but not just randomly, right? It should, in that 3 seconds of a Mogo, it should somewhere trigger the brand essence, a brand value, a brand emotion that you would like to own. And once that match is found, then, blowing it up, amplifying it into different kinds of content ideas is really where the opportunity is. And today, that field has exploded. So to give you an example, we created the global sonic identity for MasterCard.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, closer back to home, we started our first big break was Vistara. So you'll hear the onboard, the landing sound. Now they're looking at a variation of that, etc. We've just done Air India Express. Something that we did 7-8 years ago was HDFC Bank, right? Now, let's take MasterCard. While they did all the conventional applications of our Mogo and what we call the Mogoscape, which is the sonic theme of the brand, we also created a mini Mogo, which is 1.5 seconds, which we just read yesterday that the mini Mogo plays in 590 million outlets across the world when the MasterCard is tapped, right? And I was just joking and telling my team, if only we got 1 rupee or $1 for every outlet, we'd be in another place. But so this is the power. But so MasterCard hasn't stopped at that, and they have looked at, we've got this beautiful melody now. We've got a Mogo which can be 3 seconds. We've got a mini Mogo which can be below 1.5 seconds. How do we explode this? Okay, So then now they start designing it for their ads. They probably do over hundreds of commercials across the world, right? Now every commercial signs off with the Mogo, right? Sorry. And the background score also is a variation of the Mogoscape for that particular piece of creative. Now, this is only the television aspect, but look at social media content, CSR. Every piece of communication that they do has some element of the sonic identity built in, right? Now, coming to artists, one of the ideas that we gave them was a concept called sonic watermarking, right? Which is that you don't want content to go out with a branded, right? Because then it may not be consumed. Consumers will look at it as an ad, right? So we said, what if we are able to create a subliminal way to use the Mogo in really good music content, right? So what they did was they did a huge audition process across the world, and they finally chose 10 artists who could compose around the Mogo, right? Different cultures, different sensibilities, different genres, and they created this album on Spotify.
Wow.
The album is called Priceless. It has no MasterCard branding at all, except every song has the Mogo built in somewhere, right? But very naturally. It's not like force-fitted. In some songs, you may even strain to listen to where is that Mogo, right? But it's a great album. We've got an Indian artist also on that album. So the possibilities are enormous and our whole approach is brands today need this sonic identity or a Mogo because of where the media is. It's so diverse. How do you maintain some sort of sonic consistency across, because sound can express what you are, right? My voice today sounds like this, but tomorrow if I begin talking, hello, how are you? Or hello, how are you? They're very, very different. So we need to maintain brand consistency with sound and map what we call the customer journey and the ear points, not just touch points, ear points. Where all can the brand be heard? And then actually reach out to people such as y'all or in the space to say, hey, can we use artists to activate this brand sound that we've created? Can we have inventive ideas of how to actually use artists to proliferate this sonic identity that we've done? So last thing, somebody mentioned AI. I just want to say here how AI can really help us.
Yeah.
How AI can actually help us create different kinds of applications for brands, etc., etc. So it's an incredibly exciting world, and just blessed, I think, to be here at this time and in this era.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insights. Hamza, over to you.
So normally, as Mr. Rajiv actually said, and I just want a couple of seconds here to just tell him about the great body of work. That's just brilliant. Every time I sit in, I take a Vistara flight, and as a musician, you always take Vistaras because you get miles and excess baggage. As a drummer, you need that. Every time I hear it, you won't believe it, I think of you. It's just
Wow.
it's just so it's incredible. And fun fact, Rajiv sir, I don't know if you remember, we had actually shared the stage together in 2016 in that CEO Singh.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Right,
Small
right.
World.
Sir,
But yeah,
आप हमारे
that's
hero हैं. You are our hero.
Wow. Wow.
So that and for Mr. Sukesh, the power of a mogo, dun 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 dun. That's the Intel sound. Like it's been there for like years.
Yeah.
It's just four notes. But as Mr. Rajiv said, it's how do you first of all it's an insane task because there are only seven notes with added sharps, and how do you create a brand identity in like four notes or 1.5 seconds? That requires some other level of genius. So I just wanted to say
Thank you.
that now just if you could just reiterate the question specifically so that I can answer
All are
yeah.
a part of a brand, basically, that you handle Dharma Cornerstone Agency. So, what are new marketing strategies you're using to stay relevant in the market in this time?
So now there are two parts to this. One is that there is the DCA brand itself, and the second part is how the DCA brand works with other brands. Because so as a talent management agency, we actually manage the talents that brands and people like Mr. Rajiv and Mr. Rohit would come to us for collaborating with our artists. For example, if Mr. Rohit is releasing a new song and he's got like the perfect song for a talent of ours, like say Nikita Gandhi, he would come to us. Now the whole idea is how do we create the DCA brand to be the first agency that you think of when you want to do anything related to music. That is the ultimate goal when it comes to branding for DCA. Now, how do we utilize it? Obviously, there are multiple avenues. One is that social media is extremely important right now. In fact, we have a highlight on our Instagram page which just mentions the collaborations and showcases the collaborations that we've done with brands. The more
I think he's having a network issue.
Yeah. Bad internet day.
I can share in the meantime if you're okay.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So when we look at from our perspective, there are two sides. One is obviously the B2C and a B2B side. B2B, I will say, is for us is like our distributor or Spotify or Wink Music. I think for these guys, the marketing is very pre-planned. Like Spotify plan all their campaign at least 3 to 6 months in advance. So the earlier you plan your release, like we have a release chalked out till November on with the dates on what we are doing with the artists and everything is like a 6 months kind of a plan which is done. And also importantly share the highlights, what you feel, why you are doing this, what's the highlight for the artist, because these guys get a lot of requests. It's also to you have to take them into what's the story you're trying to weave around the song or trying to weave the artist. In the B2C space, we are now taking a more organic community approach rather than an influencer approach. We feel most of the, I'll say not all, but 90% of the influencer can't connect to the song, and these influencers are on 20 other songs. It doesn't make sense anymore. I think it's done to death. So we are moving away actually from the influencer. We look at our song as a brand. We go to the core of it. Look at trying to, like how Seth Godin says, look at our swimming pool from the ocean of the audience that we want to reach it. Within the resources that we have, on the creatives that we have, we try to build that swimming pool and try to make that as an ocean. And also now trying to reach more to the people. It's not only relying now to the digital media. Obviously, Instagram is the biggest discovery tool for the music today, followed by YouTube, Spotify, and all that. But we are also now trying to move, divert the spend, since now we're not going to spend on influencers or something, is to go offline, is to make that artist perform in a cafe, shoot that video, and probably put that. So these are the few things that from a marketing perspective, from a B2B, B2C perspective, and I think from a branded, is through agencies, because a lot of agencies now control these brands, is to look at the right agency who have the right decision maker in the brand. And we have identified 4 or 5 categories of industries which we feel will have an immediate impact with this, because all the brand managers is on a chair. He has an ROI to prove. So sometimes guys are strategic, sometimes guys are tactical. So you need to think and play according to the strategic thinking or the tactical thinking, and then plan your curation with that.
So Rajita, what's your take on that?
So I was just going through the latest FICCI data, where we have like India is just, I think, about second global average, second only to the US in terms of music consumption, which is a very, very, very important piece of information for us, because and about 76% of people in our country say that music is a part of their daily lives. Now, as a music label person, I like even Rohit mentioned, it's an unlimited area of business that can be tapped. So, like Rajiv mentioned, we started with the jingles, and then we went to the Coke Studios of the world, and I think forever, like when maybe 15 years back when I was with the Times Music, I don't think we launched anything without Pepsi or Coke or Mirinda sponsoring it. And then came the phase where there was surrogate advertising, right? Because the brands went off television. So then it came a stage where we were creating songs for the brands, but again subtly, so that the surrogate advertising came in, and now I think so till about some time back, 80% of music that was consumed was film music. The artist-driven music has increased so rapidly in the last 3 to 4 years that right now the film music is about 64% of Indian music consumption. The rest of it is all artist-driven. So that creates, and the interest of people in music from Haryana, from Punjab of course rules, but with Natu Natu and the Oscars and everything, just like it's just like a volcano that's erupted. I think for artists, for music labels, for companies which are creating this synergy, so marriage between the artist as a brand, the label as a brand, or maybe a cornerstone agency or somebody who is the one who's bringing them all together, and the brand itself. So whether it's a zooming car or the Tudum of the Netflix, there is so much, like this amazing example of MasterCard, Rajiv, you've given. And, while you were talking, I realized I heard this before, and I was thinking about where have I heard this before from him. And then I realized I met you along with Pradeep Guha in the 9XM office.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he had invited you, and one Monday morning we were having this session, and I was just trying to connect the buttons, So yeah, so
Oh my
I
God.
will end.
Small world.
I have to say, yeah, small world, really small world. So amazing time to brand music with brands. Lots of synergies here, lots of talent to put it together. All it eventually comes down to is the right people putting together the right product, and very, very important is the emotional connect with the audience. We sitting here thinking that, oh, listen, I think I made a great jingle and I've made a great music, and this is what I'm giving you. Doesn't work. You have to get into the emotions. Every time you see a song, even if a song for a film, if you see the songs which are getting the most streaming on any streaming platform, all will 90% be songs which are emotional. Why does the heartbreak melody always always work out of 90 out of 100 times because of the emotional connect. So once I think a artist, a label, or a company in between and the brand get that connect, then you have the Nirma and you have the Bajaj, and then you have the Mastercard, and then you have those sounds which don't leave you for years to come, or the Doordarshan, like somebody rightly mentioned. So yeah, I think it's a fun world to work in right now. It's so much fun and so much scope to do good work.
Thank you, Rajita, for your amazing insight. So I welcome Ms. Kamakshi Khurana, co-founder of the Sound Space. I welcome you here, and a very happy World Music Day to you.
Hi, thank you, everybody. I was just listening to everybody. Wow, this is just so interesting, the different aspects of how sound can actually, because my research is in sound and also how sound actually affects a living being, be it
Yeah.
be it human beings or plants, even animals. So this whole the whole idea of sound and human reaction, I completely agree with Rajita about what she was saying just now. The emotions, it's very scientific.
Yeah.
If you really delve into that aspect of it, I know all you guys are, you are so good at everything that you do, so I thought I'd just bring in this angle to it as well, because it affects uh, the human body in a very scientific manner. So when we compose things in a particular scale, and that's where in the Vedas it's spoken about, where the rags were composed in a particular scale, and that affected you in a certain way. So if you talk about, say, Rag Bhairav, which is sung early in the morning, right? This is a early morning rag. So the notes, even if I sing the notes for you, you will immediately be transported to a sunrise situation.
So can
So
you sing
um,
2 lines?
so there's this bandish in Bhairav, very popular bandish. तुम जागो मोहन प्यारे सावरे सूरत मोरे मन भावे सुंदर लाल हमारी जागो मोहन प्यारे.
That was so soothing.
So what I mean to say is that sound is so powerful, and it's basically it is creating a positive effect in the neurotransmitters in your brain.
In sound space for you look after the music education of the
Yes.
students.
Yes.
So what are marketing strategies you use to stay relevant in this market?
I think for us, and I was having this very detailed discussion with a fellow musician yesterday, I think for us, the important thing is making traditional music relevant. Right? And nowadays, it's all become very cool because of Coke Studio and things like that. But the process is not an easy one, because you're dealing with very different groups of people who have different thoughts on the matter, right? So if I say I would like to deconstruct a rag and teach it to my students in a way that is maybe not as traditional as may our gurus have taught us, but I'm deconstructing it, the students are interested, but maybe the gurus are not. So we have to find a synergy.
media.
Yeah. Yeah, so we need to find that balance where it is acceptable but still interesting. So the point is, marketing for us is about saying that, I am teaching you rags. It is not somebody who you cannot relate to at all, right? I'm speaking your language. So out of 100, if 70% are coming back to me, that means that the subject really is so interesting. It just has to be brought to you in the right way. So I think marketing is that. Marketing is your guru, your teacher, and how you are presenting it to the student. And I think that spreads like wildfire, because I know how we've built our our company, and we've built now we have students saying, Didi, I want to learn tabla instead of drums. And I said, oh, you even know what a tabla is? Like, that whole shift has happened. Also, it is the media we have to give, and also it is a fabulous music that is being created now. Even in Bollywood, so many tracks now have the influence of the rags and tumris and things that you're listening to, like Hira Mandi recently. One of my students said, Arey, but it is a bandish we have learned so many years ago. I said, isn't that amazing? That it is a bandish you have heard. And now you're hearing it in this format. It's beautiful. It's been recreated to
Yeah,
appeal
correct.
to so many more people. Earlier it was 2 people listening to the bandish. Now it's 2 million people
Whole
listening
world.
to the bandish. Why not? That's what I would say. I think marketing is about. I know our subject is Indian music and music
Yeah.
therapy, which is why I'm referring to these, these little instances that we've had with our students. But I think that's how we present our brand and our music to people.
Thank you, Kamakshi, for your.
If I can just add,
Yeah, sure.
Kamakshi, we have to meet first of all.
Okay.
Because
Of course.
so we are basically designing the sound of a brand.
Okay.
And when we started our journey, we said, look, we're not just jingle makers.
Yeah.
So we need to get deeper into the science of sound
Yes.
and how it affects human emotions, right?
Absolutely.
So that we can find, therefore, match it to what a brand uniquely is.
Absolutely right.
Right. So one of the things we do, and let me take the liberty since you sang a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is my flute.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's great.
So one of the things we do, and it gives me great pleasure as a musician. I perform live, etc. But gives me great pleasure to perform in boardrooms, right? Because boardrooms normally are such, like stiff places. So
Yeah.
so we begin our presentation by actually asking everybody to close their eyes.
Yes.
Right? I invite you all to do that. And I play this little piece, and let me just play it for
Fun
you all.
activity, I would say.
Yeah, here goes.
Fun.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
Yeah, so I'm sure you would have recognized the rag. It's Hamsadvani, basically. But it's amazing wherever in the world we've played this. Everybody sees mountains, rivers, nature, early morning, right? And then we impress upon them and say, look, essentially music is the language of emotions. And there are different musical scales. We have a rich legacy of ragas.
Absolutely.
But even if you get into the Western idiom, and if you look at the major scale, minor scale, harmonic minor, so on and so forth, they all or even the chord structures, right? Major, minor, dominant. They all evoke different sets of emotions, right? So how do we use this fundamental knowledge to therefore create the unique sound of a brand? That's really where the space that we are operating in, and which is why I was saying we must meet.
Absolutely.
Because we're constantly exploring this space and trying to get closer and closer to some sort of truth, saying if you do this is the kind of emotional response that you can expect.
Yes.
Right? So,
Yes. But
yeah.
it's very interesting. I'd like to just agree with what you're saying. The younger the children are, the easier it is to use this, because they're not they're so innocent.
Conditioned. Yeah.
They're not conditioned. So when we're testing these things out, or when we're doing it, say at a Jayavakil Foundation with a child with special needs, or when we're working with hearing impaired children,
Right.
this fundamental is really so uh, effective for these children. I cannot even explain to you. It's wonderful to see that.
Wow. Yeah,
What we've
absolutely.
been reading and seeing for so many years, when we go in there and we work with these kids and we see this, it's another level of success. So
So Hamza sir, what you would like to add to this? As you were out of network at that time. And
Yeah, technology. I'm actually in Europe. I've actually come here to watch my favorite band. So this was
oh,
yeah. So it's like 7 some odd a.m. here, and I'm on a ship with like very bad network because I actually have to bounce in about 15 minutes to go to the city to watch my favorite band. Like
Wow.
literally the
Wow.
reason why I'm here. So, Mr. Rajiv,
and
you'll
world
actually know
music
this. You've
today.
heard of this band Tool. Yeah. Yeah. So what I was saying was, when it comes to marketing, there are obviously various touch points that a brand like us uses. There is Instagram. We are doing, obviously PR. But the most important form of marketing for us is our artists, right? When we book an artist for a particular event or a brand, and when a brand comes back to us and says, you know what, this was great, your artist was a dream to work with, the content that they made really worked for us, or the performance that they put up was great. These are actually marketing tools for us as DCA. So it becomes very important for us to be associated with artists that sort of work with our brand ethos. Sorry, that was just to sum up what I was saying. And as far as evoking and creating, a mood with music, I mean, just imagine I'm here, thousands of miles away, to just watch my favorite band. So that speaks volumes. It's like the connection and the power that you have with music, where people don't realize it. And this is Kamakshi. We need to actually sit and discuss this, because I also come from like a science nerd background, and then I bring that to music. With odd time signatures and polyrhythms and all of that. So there is a lot
yes,
of uh, emotions that music and rhythms evoke. And it's great if brands understand this potential, um, and they use it and not abuse it. That is something that is very important, where I think that brands need to realize that music is an important tool, but you need to use it with respect, rather than trying to dumb it down and just say, oh no, you know what, we just want a viral background music to this ad. I'm like, there is first of all, there is no such concept of creating a viral piece of music. You create the best piece of music that you can, and then if it is good enough, it will become viral. So these are things that I think all of us need to sort of advocate to brands, to educate them, because many times, as I think Mr. Rohit said, a lot of the people who flag off these, or sort of greenlight these sort of campaigns, are the ones who don't know much about music. Um, and they're the ones who have an idea, but it's our responsibility to tell them what the nuances are, how this would work, how it would actually impact what they're trying to achieve, and firstly, whether or not it will work. Just because a brand is coming to you for a particular brand collaboration, that does not mean just go ahead with it and do it without warning the brand that, hey, this is not going to work, this falls in the 50% of marketing that did not work. So I think it's very important, and I just like to mention here that I think all of you have heard the song Hire, right, by Jasleen Royal
Yeah,
and Ariji.
super hit
I don't
song.
know if you've seen the, yeah, great song. uh, I don't know if you've seen the music video. it starts with a boat integration. There are three boat, products that were placed in the video, which I actually bought because the brand manager was not able to give sign off to get the products. I actually went and bought it from a Chroma store, and I handed it over to Jaslene's driver to integrate that. We didn't even have a video, like an email confirmation that it would go through. We promised them 10 million views, okay, and now it's sitting at, I think, 300 million views. And everybody that I have spoken to has actually noticed the boat integration where, there's a boat watch. Then there are headphones that she's wearing, which are very clearly boat. And then there is another scene where they're on a yacht, and there's a boat boombox. Now, this is, it was so seamlessly built into the music video that it sort of, it makes sense, like you're on a yacht, you're obviously going to be listening to a boombox. So that was, this is the kind of stuff that we want to sort of advocate also as DCA, where we want the music and marketing and branding aspect to fall together in place, but having a proper goal in mind. And that, I feel, is one of our biggest marketing tools for our own branding. That, DCA is the agency that will put together a creative and commercial project for you, to ensure that your vision sort of gets executed. That's that's pretty much what I would like to say. Guys, I'm very, very sorry. I actually have to leave. I would have loved to stick around for this conversation, but it's just that I have a train to catch to go to another city. But great initiative. I think we should all connect once offline, and maybe Kamakshi, Rajiv, and Rohit sir, we should actually sit and jam. Unfortunately, I can't present my drums in a boardroom. I'll get thrown out. But but we should catch up. Once again, happy World Music Day to all of you all. I'll try and see if I can join as a listener. On the train. It would be great to listen to all your insights.
Thank you, Hamza.
Great,
So
thanks. Lovely meeting you.
Very nice meeting
Thanks, guys.
So,
Bye.
So my next question would be, can you share an example of a recent successful brand campaign that, effectively utilized music in terms of marketing? So let's start with Rohit sir. What's your take on that?
Last 15 days, I was immersed in magic moments of Coke Studio Pakistan. I will say my music learning has evolved from here. I love the creation process, and I just watched the video at the end. It was immaterial, but the process of that. So I think for me, the epitome of example is Coke Studio Pakistan. I think no better delivery of recent thing. I think doing till season 15, you can get a fluke of one or two things, but not till season 15. I'm really awed by what's happening in that part of the world, and especially with Zulfi, what he's doing, and the kind of like for music, the environment is very critical. That's like one of my learnings is, I'm not a musician like other people. What we can do only just to give the right environment, which is a positive, which is open, which is collaborative, which is non-judgmental to anything, which is an open environment where we can co-create. So I use like an Ikigai model there, where the artist has the strength, what the world needs, and together we can build, co-create something. And I work with artists who are open to listen to both the sides. Otherwise, it's just an indulgence for the artist, which is also great. Sometimes the artist has a point, यार मुझे ये करना है. So we tell them, यार definitely करना चाहिए तुझे. We should do it. We should release this as is. Don't take our insight or our thoughts onto it. It's your indulgence, it's the expression. There is no right wrong here. So I will say Coke Studio Pakistan, and I saw Hamza the Hire boat integration. It was also very, very good. I think it was very well plugged in. Jasleen is awesome. Song is awesome. I think very delicate, recent. And I yesterday saw Jasleen and AI doing that boat thing again and curating that video. Very, very well done. I think Boat and Jasleen and you are doing a great job there in terms of subtly integrating music and the brand. It's not over the top. I personally hate that. I think brand manager also now understood that it doesn't work. It was a very subtle plugin. I think it's fabulous from an Indian perspective. And sir, Mastercard thing is awesome. Matlab,
Thank you.
freaking awesome. Matlab, it's a dream. Awesome. I think thanks for making all of us proud from here, and imagining, whole world is creating on your melody is such a big honor. Creating
Thank
your
you.
yeah, it's a huge honor for all of us. I think we should highlight that to everyone where, and like I've been working with a lot of folks in LA and Sweden and all that. They all tell India is going to be the next creative force, and I think that's the first example of that when I think of.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. So, Rajiv, so what's your take on that?
Well, just can you tell me what the question was again? I just got suddenly
So,
carried away by.
can you share an, recent
Yeah.
special brand campaign that you think that they have utilized music properly?
Yeah. So, actually, couple of examples of brands that we're working on.
Yeah.
One is recently we created the sonic identity for Infosys,
Wow.
right? And for us, it was a break in a sense that this was one of the first B2B brands that has embraced a sonic identity, right? So normally B2B brands say, where do we use our sonic identity? Because, we're more B2B. It's not really, we don't have the kind of media apertures that a B2C brand would have, etc. So we told them, look, at the end of it, you're talking to human beings, right? Whether it's B2B or B2C, and they have over 1 lakh of employees, right, across the world. So what they have done is really embraced us as their sonic partner, and every piece of content that Infosys comes out with, we create here in our studios in Bandra.
Wow.
Right. So we infuse the sonic identity, but in different ways. Right. So recently we just worked on a commercial for inclusion during a Gay Pride Day. And it was a very different feel, but the sonic identity was again recreated and built into, so this is some of the innovative ways they're doing stuff. But I would like to talk about a homegrown brand. Actually, it's Federal Bank. So we created the sonic identity for Federal Bank 4 years ago, right? And they are constantly thinking of newer ways in which to recreate the sonic identity and deliver it to their, different constituents and stakeholders. So, for example, during Onam, we created a version with a very Kerala sound, but with the melody built in, right? During Diwali, we did that. We did it for the ODI World Cup, right? So we did like a cricket chanting version, yeah. Then most recently for World Music Day, in fact, today it's been launched. They actually, we went through a whole audition process of their employees. And the employees had to, like an Indian Idol internal, they actually sent in their voices, singing, etc. And we got 50 shortlists that Brand Music got from the client. And of that, we chose 10, 2 singers, a pianist, a tabla player, so on and so forth. And we composed an anthem with lyrics, but based on the sonic identity. And it's been released today. It was shot here in Bombay. And I can't tell you the kind of emotional impact it has had. The employees are literally, meaning they're loving it. And most importantly, it was something we're pretty proud of musically also.
Yeah.
They've sung beautifully and they've played like their instruments beautifully. So it's a very touching moment actually. This just an example. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your insights. Kamakshi, what would you add to this?
So I was just thinking about this, and For me, it's really interesting that when we're watching a show on Netflix or any one of these, my husband, he will forward the track, the soundtrack. And that makes me mad, right? Because for me, the identity of that show is its
Yeah,
soundtrack. Like,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
so I think I think those tracks really have a very deep emotional impact on my life. I don't know about others, but when I was watching Game of Thrones, I mean, that
Wow.
sound, what
Killer.
was that? Like, what
Killer.
was that? It's like it takes me into that show and just puts me in there, and then
Oof.
that's my life for it. And I was watching New Look right now, and I said, "Oh my God, what a track they've that."
Or
So,
Narcos.
Narcos.
Narcos has
Ah,
a wonderful it takes you
I will
straight into
not
that.
start the show, even if it's 100 episodes, 100 times I will hear it, but I will hear it before I start watching the show. So my take is on this. I mean, we're all talking about advertisements, which is some fabulous ones, but I thought we'd bring in this angle as well. I think the marketing for a show also is very much connected to the track of the show.
So true, so true. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So what are the, benefits of creating original music versus, using popular tracks in brand campaigns? I mean, in today's time, it's a big discussion point that the original music is, is being justice for this thing. So what's your take on this also?
I think we should look at a balance. Sometimes you need something catchy, like what Bisleri did with Deepika recently was phenomenal for a nostalgic track. You get an instant hit for a brand, and what Rajiv sir has done with Mastercard, it has evolved. Like I mentioned before, it's just tactical or a strategic objective that the brand manager has for the brand, where the brand is at the life cycle. The decision is made based on that. When you take something like a Deepika or like for a Bisleri, they need something which reaches to the mass instantly. You need a like what how passionately Kamakshi was explaining. You need that sound vehicle along with Deepika to reach to the target audience in a way. So I think it's not either or. Buddha has given us the answer to everything. Balance is the key. We should look at depending on where you are. It's a tactical. You need quick fire. Taking a song from Saregama Universal is is little easy. You are a little bit more sure. And once you want to build your own identity, your own persona as a brand, and I think then you should invest in building the Sonics and go deep into it. And what Sir has done with Mastercard, I think it's a phenomenal thing. That's an epitome of where it can go, and still growing from that. So my answer is like balance both.
Rajiv, sir?
Yeah, I tend to agree. Absolutely tactical versus strategic. And it's a very interesting insight, actually, since I was an advertising creative director for many years. I've seen the difference between the global market and the Indian market, right? So in the global market, most of the great TV commercials, or even today, is basically buying content, original content, whether it's the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or, different kinds of music, and then or buying the rights to recreate that content, right? So take a great song and recreate it in a different BPM, in a different tempo, different voice, etc. But the melodies everybody knows, so that becomes. But in India, I think a combination of two things. One is cost, right? The whole sync licensing, etc., is more expensive than "Arey ek jingle banao," right? And because of our innate music talent, right? There's been such incredible, memorable pieces of music created for advertising, right? Which then you would find that sync licensing, in that sense of using it for television or other kind of content, was not as big in India. I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago, as it was in the West. West, it's a common practice. So I think the opportunity here especially now that the content, I think it was Rajita who was saying that Bollywood is today only 65%, and now there's 35% of original content being created, which wasn't the case like 10, 15 years ago, right? So now just imagine with all this content and creativity available, brands could well start putting on the strategic filter and saying, hey, why don't I own it rather than just lease it, right? So, and when you own it, it becomes yours. It's resonant with your brand values. It is something that can be more enduring over time. So I think that's really where it's going.
Kamakshi, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel familiarity is something very appealing, to the human brain, emotion, both. So, having said that, there's also human choice, right? If someone recreates something, I will say, wow, that's fabulous, and somebody will say, oh my God, why did he do that? So it also it's a tricky situation, I think, for an artist or a producer. So I think both ways could work or not work. It all depends on how that piece of music is really taken. And I think with social media, everything is just ripped apart. So even if it's a piece of music that has really been recreated beautifully, in my opinion, a fan of, like, if somebody recreated a Sonu Nigam piece, I'd immediately just shut it. No,
Yeah.
That's me. Because I don't think anyone can do music better than him. So if someone says, "Acha, दीवाना तेरा कर दिया वापस," I'll be like, "क्यों किया?" but again, because
that's the essence of original tracks, I would say. Right.
So there's this line that I've never really figured out, but sometimes when you're so connected to a song,
your roots,
it's difficult to accept the recreation. But again, if we talk about traditional music, I think recreation is a great idea. I think it's a great idea because you're reviving it in a way, so it's a very subtle line, I think, for this whole scenario. I think human beings are so complex, right? And we're creating music for human beings, and so it could either go this way or that way. So I think it's only a chance situation, but both work. Yes.
All right. So in today's time, independent artists and indie artists are growing and they're marketing themselves. And it's a very plus point for the music industry in today's time. And I think Rohit sir, Artisty First handles all the independent and indie artists. Am I right or am I right? Yeah.
Yeah. We work with independent artists. Yeah.
So what's your take on this?
What's the question?
The question was that independent artists is growing in this time and they are marketing themselves. So it's a win-win situation for the music business industry and it's growing. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, I think it's just great. Like Kamakshi was mentioning that, like Sir was mentioning that it's a human emotion that's transformed through music. And the best person to express that emotion actually is the artist himself. Yeah. Like I know some composer, even if they're not good singer, but they record the voice in their, bad singing so that the other singer can capture that emotion. Because otherwise somebody else, the emotion, the vibe get lost. The resolution of that vibe get lost. So I think artist is in the best space. When we work with the artists, like we work majorly with either the new artists or the legends. That's our repertoire in a way. So we actually tell them how to use if they're not that woke, but 90% of our artists are woke. They know their audience, they know the tools. We just help them, and sometimes do this periodically based on what the B2B guidelines are. I think it's a great thing, and they should be the first marketeer of their music, and I think they take that ownership also now. Which is a new change. Is like they are the center of the whole promotions, be it a listening session, be it Instagram and all that. So in fact, we tell them to start the conversation of music from their handle rather than from our handle in most of the cases. So they start the conversation and we also become the part of the conversation with them. Yeah.
Can I something
yeah,
over
you can
here,
ask.
if you don't mind.
Hmm.
I'd like to know from Rohit sir actually, how, I don't know, because I'm not in this space, so I'm not very aware, but uh, my question is, how do you maintain quality? And what is the meaning of quality when there are so many artists out there? Like, I mean, you know, is there a one? Are there five? Are there 10? I see hundreds. So at some point in time, my interest drops because then I don't know how to really find something, because I don't have the time to sit and scroll my Instagram the whole day. But earlier, say cut to 10 years ago, I knew that this was the artist I was going to, or that was the artist I was going to. There was a certain place for an artist. Uh, my question is, how do you find quality?
Um, it took us long to reach. Quality is also subjective. What is quality for me might not be for you. What I have done, I have now taken two of my young guys with me. I take that decision with me because they are the audience, right? What I've evolved. I have a certain sense of music, so that's one. Keep the young guys with you in your team,
Yes.
especially 19 to 25 is the guys who knows
Yeah.
everything. We can just coach them, but they know the real thing, what's happening. That's one. And take the decision with them. Like I only vetoed one decision of one artist. Our battle is going on where they say they don't like, I say I like. Only one. So that song is going to, let's see who wins. But it's a collaboration with the young folks decision.
Yeah.
In artists, I only see one thing personally: the fire. uh, Fire for me can be different, fire for you can be different. Is the fire that they had, what's the uniqueness they had, why he's doing music, what is his stave of that music, is that story exciting for me, or do I want to tell that story to the world, right? Is the time we look at, we have signed artists within 35 minutes. Sometimes it took us 4 months with multiple conversation where we see a spark in यार कुछ तो है लेकिन अभी हमें समझ नहीं आ रहा है. So like artist we launched yesterday, Kafila, it took me 4 months. He comes from, like, I'm here, Kafila is here. It took me 4 months to deep dive into his world, and then he took me here, and I'm seeing it from here. I still don't belong to his world. He's only here. But one of my guys in my team, he belongs here. So only he works with him. I don't even talk to him about work because whatever I will talk, because I'm here, I will not be able to do justice. So only they talk. I just sign off. कि यार ये कर दिया बस, right? So fire, and last important thing is go into their world. If you like somebody, so like I tend to have an habit to meet their family, meet their friends, go to their office where they live. Like some of my artists are from Kashmir. I went to Kashmir, and met them to understand their world. My dad actually told me at the very beginning, यार जिसके साथ भी काम करो उसके ऑफिस जाओ. So when I was in YRF, that was, I will say, one of my reason to say, Varna, there was everyone was thinking, "Yaar, I am YRF, I will not go. They will come to my office." But I went to everyone's office around the country because of the core value that my dad has told me. And now when I go to artists, I see their world. Music is just one small thing of where the person is, right? Like there is a journey, right? And once you go there, you understand where he is at the journey and what he is going to create now, and what's the potential he can do something. Sometimes we sign artists कि यार ये अभी के लिए चाहिए. Sometimes we understand ये journey है. We have to invest in that journey of that artist. So it's very subjective, very artist to artist point of view. And last important thing कि काम करने में मजा आना चाहिए. मतलब वो आप और उसके साथ अगर मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है, उसको ज़्यादा लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम है, हमें उससे प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, तो कट द क्रैप देयर इटसेल्फ. बिकॉज इफ देयर इज नॉट द राइट एनर्जी, टेक दैट लॉस देयर एंड देन. मतलब इज गोइंग टू बी फर्दर लॉस फॉर हिम फर्स्ट, फॉर अस एज वेल, एंड ऑल अदर थिंग्स. मज़ा आ रहा है कि नहीं काम करने में? अल्टीमेटली यू नीड टू एंजॉय एवरी डे. मॉर्निंग यू नीड टू थिंक, while dreaming you need to think about that artist. अगर वो नहीं हो रहा है तो I think music is all about that love and that passion. So sorry for the long answer, but yeah.
That was lovely. I think it's very important for us to talk
Raju,
about.
sir, what's your take on this?
Thank you.
You're on mute.
No, I think it's a great question because as Rohit said, quality is subjective at the end of it. And for us, because our delivery is slightly different, some of the things he said are absolutely true. In brand music, we have like a leadership with a fair bit of gray hair, and we've got actually majority of our team is between 21 and 30, I'd say, right?
Okay.
So we've got composers who are just still finishing college. Yeah, so they've just come to us and said, can we intern? And we found them really exciting. And we say, hey, in your free time, just hang here, like just come. And they've, as soon as they finish college, they've joined us. We've got at least 2 instances like that, right? So we've got a panel of composers who are from different kinds of fields, different sensibilities, because one of the things that we keep telling everybody is there's nothing more dangerous than brand music having a house sound. Right? Because we are dealing with, we have to create the unique sound of different brands. So we need, it cannot be driven by my musical sensibilities. Like, so even Rohit, when he's choosing diverse artists, it cannot only be driven by his musical sensibilities, because we do, I mean, I love jazz. I love Indian classical, especially Carnatic, you know, and that the whole fusion space. Now that's a very different sensibility, right? I don't listen to pop so much, though of course the timeless pop I do, Beatles, etc., etc. But I force myself during my music listening sessions to listen to what the youngsters are coming out with, what are the new sounds, what are the sonic themes that exist, etc. Of all of this, of balance of youth, and I won't say age, youth and experience, right? Diverse talent, different kinds of sensibilities, and the last but not least, fun is a big part of our life. So we have a studio. I'm speaking from the studio here in Bandra, and we actually have 10-15 youngsters just sitting here and composing. I mean, my dream is to have a much bigger place where, and another part of the dream is to have a sonic lab where musicians wearing white coats are actually conducting experiments on on people
Audio.
judging emotional responses, stuff like that. So all of this, but fun, it's a big part of our journey, because nothing great gets created without fun, right? If you feel that deadline and the whole atmosphere is deliver or else, it's not going to happen, right? It's just got to be free. People have to explore, and then you start bringing it into some sort of form and structure.
Hi, Rajita, are you there?
I think she's traveling.
Yeah, she's traveling and she's having a network issue. Hi,
Yeah,
Rajita.
yeah.
So my last question to you guys would be, what is the future of music in 2024 and in coming 5 years? How do you see as the music business industry in next 5 years? So let's start with Kamakshi.
I think that there are going to be many more musicians because music is becoming a very popular tool to have. I think there are going to be more listeners too, because uh, music is accessible now, and music is something that is a go-to for a lot of people. So I think there's going to be diverse music. We're going to have multiple levels of listeners, multiple levels of musicians, and it's going to be exactly where it's supposed to be. Like, music has to be for everybody, not just for an artist or a singer or a musician, but it has to be something that everybody can go to, like how we go to reading books, or we go to doing a puzzle or something like that. It's got to be a part of your everyday life, and I think we're headed there. With the number of music schools coming up, the accessibility of music, we are creating good listeners, and we are creating people who are interested in the subject and making it like a part of their everyday life. That's where I see it going.
Rajiv, sir, what's your take?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Hi, Rajita.
Sorry, I'm on my way to
You is
office.
not
So
the one.
Yeah. So, where do I see music going? Is that your question?
Yeah, it's
Next 5
next
years?
5 years, music business.
I'll tell you some of my dreams, right? One is that I wish that in some way we can go back to those beautiful days
Hmm.
where we used to listen to music by appointment hearing, right? Where we would keep time aside to hear an album. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon just released. Wow. We spent the whole day listening to every track, analyzing it, the flow of the album, So I just wish, while it's fantastic, it's brilliant, the revolution that has happened, but sometimes what tends to happen is when you have too much of a good thing, you don't value it enough. So the music is so accessible today that we don't really appreciate the value that we are getting, and here I'm talking as listeners. So my dream is that there's some more value that is given by listeners and consumers and the big music players, distributors, to artists. I think that is one. The second is more power to independent artists emerging. That's already happening. That's been another dream that if you look at the West, and we all grew up listening to both Indian and Western music. Western music, just look at all the great bands that have emerged, which is all independent music actually, right? Whether it's the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, whether it's Marvin Gaye, whether it is Motown, whether it's Stevie Wonder, whether it's like, they're all great musicians who have become popular by creating original music, right? So in India, because we have an incredible industry called Bollywood, the focus seemed to be for all these years more about creating music for a film, which also then became a hit, right? But today, with that 35% coming as independent, I want this revolution to take place where independent music is no longer, sort of looked down upon.
Yeah.
Like, indie music, I mean, if it's a hit, it's a hit. And also for labels to pick up more musicians who not necessarily Bollywoodized, right? But independent, from the heart of India. So many, beautiful musical expressions are possible. So I think this is where music will go. I hope it will go. And that's really what I think.
Wow, thank you for your insight, sir. Rohit, sir, what would you add to?
So Diljit has recently shown us what can happen to Indian
So
artists
value.
and what can
Yeah,
happen.
absolutely. More power to him. Yeah.
More power. I believe there are 50, hundreds of more Diljits waiting to just explode. I think they will come not only from Delhi, Bombay. They will come from tier 2, tier 3 cities. That's where a lot of music is. I think India is going to the world. Diljit probably is the flag bearer. Our melody is the flag bearer, like with Mastercard example. Believe me, world has an eye on us. Believe me, whole world is eyeing India because of melody, because of the Spotify numbers, because of the consumption, the huge audience that we have. believe me, world is eyeing us. Just be very thorough on what you're doing. Build. Huge time of music. I think is we are already there. It's not going to come. I think it's already happening. When I work with music producers, like from LA, they want the international guys want to accompany the Indian guys and YK to understand the sound scale, understand what's happening in India and all that. So everyone is keen to work here. Collaboration is going to be key. I'm going to make that attempt and meet Rajiv sir ASAP. Probably we all can meet today. But I think, yes, I think that's the huge key that we need to collaborate. What you have music, what I have, what I am thinking, it's all co-created. It's a co-creation that can happen. And we can serve music, like a lot of people say music is a service. Like they serve the song, they serve the music, from that perspective. IP awareness is going to come a lot. A lot of tech is going to help that. A lot of awareness is already happening. I think in US everyone is aware of the point system, publishing and all that. I think many tools are coming in next couple of years that awareness is going to come, and it's very easy to also collaborate. Like in globally now people don't charge for music. They all have a point system too. They earn royalties throughout life. If they get hit song, they have a legacy. All their generations earn from that. They don't have to do anything. I think that's the kind of tradition that's going to come in. There will be a very important role of tastemakers. The young generation has. I call them tastemakers because they influence music. Like one of my son influences 50 people in his college about music. One of my team members influences 30 people. So we need to look at these tastemakers. They will be part of the ecosystem soon because they influence their clan, their community, and that will come in. And I travel a lot. India has so much music, thousands of years. If we can work, we will not be able to put the Indian music out. There's so much tradition, so much instrument, so much soul that we have. And it's infinite. Nobody in one lifetime can even comprehend or capture that. I think we all need to look at what we can do, how we can serve the music best, build from there and serve it to the best we can.
Thank you, Rohit, sir, for your insights. Rajita, what would you add to that?
So can you guys hear me now?
Yes,
I
yes.
think. Yeah, okay, great. Sorry, I'm in the car. So, while we speak, I think it's about 12 o'clock and 11 a.m. on YouTube. I have launched a World Music Day song called Hum Sare Ek Hain, which is about unity, and it's got 21 singers. You would have got a press release of it, Ojasvi, I think, at some point of time. So these 21 singers are singers like Nikita Gandhi, Ankit Tiwari, and singers who are folk singers also from various parts of the country. So the reason I mentioned this to put across that Indie and Bollywood kind of coexist and should actually coexist. So when we say the number of songs, the number of listenership, the percentage has gone down to say 67. I think the science behind it would not really be that people are not listening to Bollywood. Maybe the films are coming up with lesser songs, and a lot of OTT is not making that many songs. But honestly, I love Bollywood. I'll tell you why. Because what it does for me as an indie music label. So my lineup of the next maybe 5-10 releases are artists who are relatively unknown from various parts of the country. But what happens, I look at Bollywood as a very, very important tool of marketing. So the blending already happened because there was a time when there was a Made in India, Alicia Chinay and all that stuff. But that sound went to Bollywood. It had a very distinct Nadeem Shravan sound. And Indie had a very Euphoria, Silk Route sound. What happened over the for him with the Honey Singhs and the Bachchas, and I mean, there's a long list, I can't name everybody, is the sounds amalgamated into each other. So for me today, the only differentiating factor music is भैया कि उसने original गाना बनाया जो picture में नहीं है. For me, it has the same value because it's the same creation. A Bollywood song is a song that went into a movie. It's as simple as that. Bollywood, like today, for example, if an Arijit is singing on stage, we all know how much he gets paid. 90% of his songs are from movies. Maybe 10% are his indie original. So Bollywood, I think, is amazing because Bollywood has made Arijit what he is. Bollywood has made Sonu Nigam what he is. Bollywood made the really amazing KK what he was. So yeah, it's a respect for each other.
The future of music is Bollywood music. Precisely.
It is. And you know what? See, I've had the pleasure and the honor actually to even work with Lata Mangeshkar and Jagjit Singh. And today I work with these guys who are doing an AP Dillon. I'm launching a singer from Australia who is a Sardar from Australia. Amazing hip hop music, unknown guy. So I have seen it transcend over the years. What eventually is gonna be surviving, like in every other field of media, whether it's films or whether it's music or whether it's television, is good content, is good music. So there will be tons in between who will come with their 15 minutes of fame or 15 minutes of the money bags that they can put in on a social media promotion, vehicle. But eventually what will survive is talent. And like I said, it's not going to be easy for them to make it through. It's just that they have more vehicles to kind of launch themselves on. And yes, collaborations was always key. And emotion, you tug at the right emotion, you have the right sound. So whether you're in a Bollywood movie or whether you are launching something out of Ludhiana, you will still make a mark. That's what I feel.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for your precious time. It was amazing to have everybody on this occasion, on the occasion of World Music Day, especially.
Yeah.
And a very happy World Music Day to everyone. And I hope you guys had a great time here with us on Loudest.in, this initiative by E4M and Business World and Impact. And
thank you so much, Ojasvi. This was a very amazing session. I love to meet a lot of our panelists in person because there's so much that I have, gained in terms of, aspects of music creation. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you all. And a very happy World Music Day and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody. Looking forward to meeting all of you all in person.
Same here.
All the very
Thank you.
best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.